most of the attendees are Muslim. How can we, given that this is already a universal message, it's based on principles, what are some of the strategies or tips that you can give us, the students here and the rest of us, as to how to communicate and market and relate to the public? Because often we do so from our own shoes without doing a market survey or a focus group, like putting ourselves in the other's shoes as to how this message ought to be communicated. Thanks.
Yeah, the question, for those who are not here, how can we market the message of Imam Hussein? It's a good question. I think you're right, we're converted here, and I'm sure all of us here have heard about Imam Hussein. Most of what I said we already knew about him, probably about Sheikh Vinay too. I think we're not good market researchers, very honestly. We've come here, but we still do not know how to package and market our religion. Others do. Look, open television on Sunday morning, you will see exactly what I mean. Even on the Saturday. What we do is just somebody comes sitting on your television program, reciting like a lecture for half an hour, and that's it. That really doesn't cut it, as I say. How about, in my country we used to have a Hussein Day, but we used to keep it open in the open area. I know we can't do that here because it's too cold. But how about having a Hussein Day, which is for non-Muslim rather than Muslim? A public forum where people are just passing by, then we can start talking to them about what Islam is and what it's not. That's one thing. One of the things, and again, excuse me for being so blunt, but I was in Colorado for 9 years. I did more interfaith talk there in 1 month than I did here in 4 or 5 years. We don't seem to do much interfaith. Do we really go to churches and speak? Maybe we do, and I don't know. I'm not aware of it. But I don't think so. I haven't heard about it. Hardly. Maybe one here and one there. But do we, as Muslims, go to churches, synagogues, temples, Buddhist, Hindu temples, and speak there? In the case of Sheikh Vinay, I know that he had to come to us rather than us go to him. It was through his own research, right? But that's a different issue. All I'm saying is that we really need to package our religion properly. As you know, as we are aware, the Ministry of Truth, commonly known as CNN, Fox News, which is Ministry of Lies, has got such an agenda against Islam and against Muslims. Let's face it. You will never ever hear anything positive about Iran being mentioned in the media. And never ever anything negative about Israel in the media. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Because speaking against Israel is not politically correct. Speaking for Iran in the media is not politically correct either. So it's political rather than moral correctness that rules us. And there are various other things we can do. We can bring something in the newspapers on special occasions. We put the Milad al-Nabi coming up. Again, in my country we used to have Mawlud. Mawlud was always a public event. We never used to have it in our mosques. We would have it outside there. Because we know the Prophet. We want to make sure that we pass his message to the outside world. Here I know we'll have some kind of Prophet event, and who will be there? The Muslims. We already know the Prophet, with all due respect. I think that, what we need to do. I'll give you one example before I stop here. January the 6th, I believe, 1993 was a very special day. I was a resident army here in Toronto. And normally the Ontario courts, they have, in January, one day, officially open the courts on the new year. And they have a short sermon from a religious figure to officially open the court. And that particular year, they asked me to do it. And it just so happened that 6th January 1993 was the United of Imam Ali, the Deed of Najib. And when you're speaking to judges, because all the judges and justices are there, who else can you talk about? The justice. It's not happening. And I went to just talk a little bit about the letter that Imam Ali gave to Malik al-Ashtar, his commandment. And the Chief Justice, I swear to you, came and told me, he says, you guys have done a lot of injustice to us. I said, why? He says, you never ever told us about this person when arguing with God. Why did you tell us? How come you have blinded? We are blinded, we don't know about it. It's your fault that we don't know about it. He was right. That's
what I'm saying, that we need to really put it out there, go beyond the confines of our mosques.
I think I would entirely agree with Dr. Takim. Also, this is something that I think most centers and organizations, this is a question that comes to them, right? They organize these open houses, events, different issues. They want non-Muslims to come. It always ends up being 90% Muslim, and there's always 2 or 3 token non-Muslims at the back. You know, and speeches are geared to non-Muslims completely. The speakers come, they speak, they realize it's a waste of their time and their day. The question is why? I don't really have an answer to it. It's a $1 million question, but I think it's important not to just invite people to our center, but to, as Takim said, go out there to them. We can't expect people to come to us always. Very few people will end up getting in their car, driving out, leaving whatever they're doing to come to us. That takes a sense of, well, I did. That was, so that takes a sense of commitment, right? That people need to first know who you are before they want to come and visit you. They have to first appreciate something about you before they come and visit you. For example, I was visiting Minnesota recently, and they have a wonderful operation there where they go to churches certain times of the week. They went out to approach the heads of church organizations, synagogues, Hindu temples, Sikh temples, and talk to them and say, would you be interested in us coming and just discussing common values that we have about justice and truth and so on and so forth. Common values, right? Without bringing in theological issues, right? And discussing, as the doctor said, universal ethics and principles. This is the gateway to spreading the message of Islam. And after that, if you want to take your discussion in a different direction, in a more intellectual discussion, talking about theology or different issues, then you can. But the initial impetus of that has to be based on universal ethics, right, which all religions hold. And going out to them. Not waiting for them to come to our center just because we left flyers at the subway station. That's not going to work, and I've seen it time and time again now, not working at various centers. You know, in Ontario, at least. So we need to certainly change the way that we do things.
Can we answer this question now?
Maybe add a comment. There's a very proud tradition here at the University of Honor for the Second implemented the right stars for a youth today. That CNN has in the past done exactly that going out there. Examples of this is, environment where we actually went out there and then organized to have a present on it. Where we went to their event and presented some blackness. Now we were part of that. Expression of expression. We at the University of Honor, this is where we become message there. So these are examples of the style history that you guys have, and it's all about the first institutes and the live event.
Okay, I think we have to be brief. There's quite a good question. What is the best way to protest against injustice? Some of what we have said before is just ways. But remember, we don't have to have our own events. I think what Muhammad was saying is very correct, in that anything which concerns Islam or anything which concerns humanity, we should be a part of that dialogue conversation. Whether it's black history or injustice or anything, or even this issue of environment issues.
Islam has a lot to say about the environment too. Or euthanasia, for example. We have a right to say about that too. Whatever it may be, any conversation which touches human being, whether it's welfare, poverty, we need to add our voices too. Otherwise, we'll be marginalized. So when it comes to injustice, wherever there is wrongdoing, wherever there is injustice, we must speak up. How can we respect the human rights of people who are discriminated against or marginalized because they are not viewed favorably in Islam? Thank you. For example, homosexuals. That is, if they are morally incorrect, do their rights and beliefs hold respect in our eyes? think we need to distinguish between them as human beings and their acts. Yes, we do not accept or condone their act. We do believe that we need to correct them. But at the same time, if we just shut them out, if we do not dialogue and talk with them, then what we're doing is marginalizing them too. I know it's very difficult, very sensitive, and a difficult issue to talk about. There are, for our information, quite a few homosexuals within the Muslim community, and lesbians too. Let's not forget that. And therefore, talking to them is a very sensitive issue. But at the same time, we do need to make our voices heard. I mean, Catholics come out openly and say, talk out against homosexuality, against abortion. How can they do it? Why shouldn't we? So, again, we don't have to condemn the people. We have to condemn the act.